When did this idea first come to you? How long's this one been in, gestation, as it were?
A long time, this one. Probably longer than anything I've ever worked on since The Beach, I guess. The Beach came out of years and years of backpacking, and this came out of years and years of being interested in computers and interested in AIs in particular, and also interested in consciousness, in human consciousness, and because a lot of the problems of AIs are also the same as the problems of consciousness, trying to define what our brains are and what our minds are. I've been reading about that for a long time, and I'm lucky enough to have a couple of friends who are very interested in the same subject and knowledgeable about it. So I was able to talk to them about it, and then I started reading a lot, and it emerged as a story. I was working on this film Dread a few years ago, and in prep on Dread, this suddenly arrived as a narrative in my head. It just popped out. It's changed a bit since then, but the core idea remained the same. So 10 years.
10 years. And when that narrative came to you, did you then sort of switch away from Dread and go and sit in a room and get it down really quickly?
Yes, that's exactly what I did. Yeah. I wrote it down on... My methodology with scripts, or anything really, is to write 1 or 2 pages, A4, scribble it down, the key beats, and then to put that at the bottom of the document and gradually start writing it later, deleting the lines as you get to them, and get to the last line, then you finish the script. That's kind of the process. And so I did. I got this down really quick because basically, as a writer, currency for me is stories. And if I come across a story that is meaningful to me, that's actually very valuable. I need those things. Yeah. So I'd right, fuck Dread, concentrating on getting this down, and then went back.
And did you know at that point that this was the one that you wanted to direct? Because I kind of assumed you would direct. It seemed to me logical that you would.
I don't want this to sound disingenuous. It's not. It's just true. I've been working in films for years. I just see it as filmmaking. I don't attach huge importance to directing. I don't, in a way, attach huge importance to any of the roles, except that they have their own implicit importance. Mm-hmm. I just don't really go with the pyramid structure. It's never... I've worked on too many films where it's clearly not the case, so I just don't buy into it. And it's filmmaking, and there's a group of filmmakers, and they include production designers and DOPs and producers and writers and directors and actors, and often at different points in a filmmaking process, different people have primacy. It changes. Yeah. We from the outside, it's presented as if it's always this thing. It's not, or at least in my experience, it isn't. And so I didn't see it. I know it seems like a big step, but for me, it wasn't a big step. I feel like I've been making film for 15 years. Mm. Here's another one. I could work on another one where someone else is directing it. I wouldn't then think I've now given up of myself to this other person. I don't go along with it, and so yeah.
Alicia was saying you were very calm on set. Did you feel calm?
Yeah, I felt totally calm.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that crew I've worked with many times, like really many, many times. And in fact, Domhnall Gleeson I've worked with many times. These are friendly faces, right? And we've some of the films we've worked on in the past have been really extremely difficult. And one of the intentions on this film, and it was a very bluntly expressed intention, is this film's not going to be like this. This is going to be a friendly, collegiate experience. And the only bit of fascism in the film was that, Yeah. And so I felt calm because I was surrounded by people who are terrifically good at their jobs. I mean, not just good, really, really good. Mm. And over the years, I've got very dependent and close on some of these. Close to and dependent on these people. Some of them I hadn't worked with before. The DOP, Rob, never worked with him before.
Right.
Hugely important in this film. Hugely part of the team. One of the reasons I don't like that directing stuff is I feel like I'm taking away from someone like the DOP implicitly. I saw a trailer for a film the other day. I knew immediately who'd shot it, absolutely immediately. Everyone who was responding to that trailer then talks about this guy's new film coming out. Everything they're responding to really in that trailer is the DOP, really. So I come at this from a different angle.
Yeah. Let's talk about the cast.
Sure.
Three main characters, two other characters, but three main characters, really. I guess maybe four. So a lot on their shoulders. So casting, always important, but vital in this one.
Yeah,
Hugely
hugely important.
It must be. Did you have Alicia in mind? Was she somebody on your radar? Because Ava is...
she was on the radar, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
But because of this Danish movie she did, Royal Affair.
Right. Yeah.
She a very young actress, and she acting opposite, I think, Mads Mikkelsen, very powerful actor, and she just dominates the film. And you spot that immediately. I don't mean dominates in a bad way. I just mean you can't take your eyes off her. The thing about this film was, there were moments of anxiety, right? And there always are. My most acute moment of anxiety was when it came to casting, because casting at this budget, which was $15 million, is completely bound up in whether you'll get financed. And what I didn't want was to cast stars, not because stars are not good or helpful, they can be terrifically useful in a film, but because of the way this film is constructed, because of the kind of script it has, because of the length of the scenes and the complexity of the acting job, it had to go to people who are primarily actors. They may or may not turn into stars or be stars, but more than anything, they have to be real actors. The film would collapse instantly under the weight of one of those people who has terrific charisma, but not much else in terms of chops, you know. So yeah, it was cast for actors, and I'm genuinely grateful to the producers and also the financiers that they got that, and they did not say, if it's not one of the names on this very short list, we're not giving you the money. They said, no, we get it. We can see the kind of thing it is. And so what we got was three people who, it's not like they're unknowns, right? Everybody in the industry knew these guys are good. Lots of other people trying to get them for other things. Right? It's not a secret that Oscar Isaac's a sensational actor. Everybody knew that. But he's also not something at that point you could finance a movie on the back of.
How did you approach Eva in particular? Ava, because it's a tough one for Alicia, isn't it? It's that humanity, the humanity with the machine. Did you talk that through with her a lot? And did you sort of find that together?
No, not really. I wrote the script. She read it. We had a conversation, and she was just right on the money. Everything she said was right on the money. And she had some particular thoughts about particular moments that made me think, you really understand this, you've really thought about this. Or intuitively you get it. Whatever it is, you get it. So that's great. She also had some points about movement, about physicality, which she was able to control in a particular kind of way. Good actors are always very good at controlling their body. Her ballerina training, I think, gives her another edge. She was worked for years at very high level as a ballerina, and it gave her the little sort of X Factor-ish thing to chuck in there as well. And it's about a nuanced presentation of a machine, not big clunky movements, which is what I'd do if the camera was on me, but something other. She could make Ava something other. Doesn't push you away, brings you in, but also keeps you hovering just off her. Yeah. It's kind of brilliant what she did.
Absolutely. Yeah. To state the obvious, it's a very thought-provoking film, and it made me think about a lot of things.
Cool, good.
Thank you. How close do you think we are to AI?
AI exists in many forms at the moment. But what you're talking about, and it's the interesting thing to talk about, is sentience.
Yes.
Yeah, self-aware.
Yeah.
It's unknowable. I know some people now in the process of working on this film who are right at the cutting edge. I mean, the cutting edge of this stuff. And What I would say is, in my opinion, for what it's worth, I think it's going to happen. I really do think it's going to happen. There's a serious school of thought that says it's not going to happen, and I think they're wrong. I think it is going to happen. When it happens is another matter. It's got a cure for cancer aspect about that. You know, as you turn one corner, you see another obstacle, but that doesn't mean a progression isn't happening. In my lifetime, probably just. My kid's lifetime, yeah, that's where I'd put it. Yeah. And it's going to change everything.
It is going to change everything.
Everything. All the paradigms of our existence that we've basically existed with since Homo sapiens arrived 200,000 years, all that's going to change. Mortality, we're bound to it. We've both aged since we last saw each other. That'll stop.
Yeah.
Not for us, but for something else sentient.